Hello and welcome to our special broadcast from the Auto Expo 2023. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The Auto Expo, the Indian Motor Show, is making a return after a gap of 3 years, and the focus clearly is on clean mobility. Tata Motors had some big announcements here at the Auto Expo. They unveiled 26 vehicles across electric vehicle, the IC range in passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles as well. The focus here again was on electric vehicles. They showcased the Curve Coupe EV, the Avinya EV and a whole range of LNG, hydrogen fuel cell and electric buses and trucks as well. N. Chandrasekaran, the Tata Sons chairman, was here and he said that the electric vehicle transition would happen faster than expected. Listen in to what he said at the unveiling of the Tata Motors range at the Auto Expo.
In the passenger cars, we already had successful launches in the last 3-4 years, and we are grateful to Indian consumers for the tremendous encouragement that we have got, and we are confident that we chose the right strategy, and I truly believe that the transition to electric mobility in India will happen much faster than what we are imagining. It is my commitment to you that our investments in this space will be significant so that we can accelerate not only the transition to electric mobility, but give consumers absolutely world-class products.
Remember, Tata Motors is at number 3 in the Indian passenger vehicle market, and they have their eyes on the pole position. Maruti Suzuki had some announcements as well. They unveiled the EVX, which will be the first electric vehicle that will be brought to India by Maruti Suzuki in collaboration with Suzuki Motor Company in 2025. Even before that, we also saw a prototype of a flex fuel vehicle in a WagonR form. I caught up with the company's management, Shashank Srivastav, the Senior Executive Officer, Sales and Marketing, and the company's CTO, C.V. Raman. Listen in to what they had to say about these new offerings that have been launched by Maruti.
The adoption rate of EVs the consensus is that it will be different for different category of vehicles. Like two-wheeler and three-wheeler, it will be before four-wheelers. The four-wheeler, for the four-wheelers, it will also be the TCO parity, which is the basis of calculation consumer makes for making choices, is more in favor of larger vehicles and smaller vehicles.
One can say the cost viability is greater in having an electric SUV right now, and you can expect some greater volumes as well?
Yes, so I would say larger vehicles. And SUV, of course, is because the segment is really doing well, and our projection is that the segment will continue to do well. Like, for example, in December, it touched 45% of the market. Overall, of course, it's still 42%, but the growth seems to be great going for SUV, and therefore for larger vehicles, SUV is obviously an obvious choice for getting into these. But one thing I must add, that it is also dependent on the usage of the vehicle. For example, in the smaller cars, you could see the fleet adoption being much faster, because it is not just the type of car which matters, but also the usage that you put to. So there is a consensus that maybe fleet and such usage will probably see a faster adoption than personal.
All right, Mr. Raman, as we move, and if you can tell us about the vehicle as well, give us a sense about the inspiration behind the design.
So as Shashank-san was explaining about the need and the growth in the SUV market. And SUV market is not just for India, but globally SUVs are growing. And this is a global unveil. The concept EVX is for the global market. And so therefore, SUV as a theme has been kind of established in a way that that's where the growth is going to be. And so the concept is based on a SUV theme. It's a versatile, emotional, versatile cruiser. That's what EVX stands for. And what does true SUV stand out for? One is high seating, a longer wheelbase, and very wide proportion, a very strong shoulder, upright hood, and upright seating. All of this is what represents a SUV. And now when you talk about SUV, and that too in an EV, we have to start, as we were talking about, a born electric. So from a platform perspective, all new platform is being developed. And so based on that, and this has got a 60 kilowatt battery, it has a
550 kilometers.
550 kilometers of range. And so that's based on our study of the market, we feel that that's a start point from where the easy adoption in this segment is possible.
What will be the extent of localization? Will it be 100% manufactured in India?
Yeah, of course. So we are doing about 10,000 crore investment in Gujarat, which was announced a couple of months back. And we are going to localize the batteries. By 2025, we will have all of that in place so that we are able to launch that for the market.
How will you keep the price competitive? Today in the market, you have 10 lakh EVs, you have 15 lakh EVs, and you have EVs in the range of 20 to 25 lakhs. Which bracket would this fall in?
So I think it's too early to talk about price because it will all depend on the extent of localization as well. And I must say that one of the big factors inhibiting the larger adoption of EVs across the world and also in India is the cost of acquisition. And in battery cost is obviously a very important cost. In fact, its estimates are it will be close to 50% of the total cost of EVs. And therefore, it's very important to get the battery cost down.
Well, it's not just the EV-X which is catching eyeballs at the Maruti Suzuki stall at the Auto Expo. You've got this Wagonar also, which is parked here, and there's something special about it. It's not your conventional petrol or diesel Wagonar. It is a flex fuel vehicle. So what is a flex fuel vehicle? A flex fuel one which can run on higher ethanol blends. So this prototype that Maruti Suzuki is showcasing has been developed specifically for the India market. It has been developed by Maruti and Suzuki in collaboration with each other. It is being tested in India. It has a whole new engine, and there are significant upgrades which have been made to this vehicle. So from the inside, it is your regular Wagonar. I'll call my camera person here. This is a manual transmission. You can see the gearbox right there, and the management tells us that they can easily convert it to an automatic gearbox as well. This will be your regular Wagonar, but with a flex fuel engine. The hope is that when the company launches this vehicle, the higher ethanol blends will bring down the cost of your fuel. So let me tell you some of the parts which have completely changed. There are at least 35 to 40 new parts in a flex fuel engine. So you've got high flow injectors, fuel rail with heaters. It's got an internal engine component upgrade. You've got ethanol sensors. You've got a fuel heating control unit, a whole new wire harness, changes in the piston. So a lot of upgrades have been made, and you can't just run any vehicle on higher ethanol blends. You'll have to have a flex fuel vehicle. And there were some announcements in the two-wheeler space as well. A large number of electric two-wheeler startups are here at the Auto Expo. From Greaves Cotton, we heard of announcements of at least 6 electric vehicles, 3 in the two-wheeler space and 3 in the cargo and passenger vehicle space. Danish Anand, my colleague, visited their stall here at the Auto Expo, caught up with the management and got us a sneak peek into some of those products which are showcased by the company.
As you know, back in 2016 was one of the early movers into sustainable mobility, because we believed when you look at oil prices, when you look at long-term sustainability, electric vehicles are the way to go. Hence, we started investing in technology, styling, centers of excellence, manufacturing, people. And today what you're seeing are 6 new products in the high-speed two-wheeler and three-wheeler, both B2B and B2C applications. And we have started taking bookings for the Primus, which is our first high-speed foray starting today, the Primus scooter. Thank you.
And so what about the pricing? What is the pricing strategy, and what do you think will make your company completely stand out in comparison to other players which have already moved in the EV segment?
So we were one of the earlier movers, and as you know, on the two-wheeler, we are one of the people where Magnus vehicle has been very well received, over 100,000 vehicles sold. In terms of, we believe we are one of the few people who offers an ecosystem play. What that means is we give a two-wheeler or a three-wheeler product. We also give financing, service, multi-brand service, multi-brand spares, and if you look at it, retails, we also sell other electric vehicles. So at the end of the day, when you look at the overall ecosystem of EV, we are one of the few players who plays in the overall ecosystem. That's what we believe should be a unique point. And our products are always competitively priced to the mass market. Thank you.
And so what about the charging infrastructure? What are your plans regarding the charging infrastructure? And do you plan to have both swappable battery as well as a plug-in system for your EVs?
Our systems will be ready for both charging, fast charging, as well as swapping. And we believe in India, B2B applications will probably demand a lot more swapping, whereas the B2C customer will need charging. Our vehicles are equipped to do both.
Right. So very lastly, what is the initial sales target that you have, and how much market share would you like to capture?
So as you know, our market share today is in the double digits, and our intent is these products should continue to keep us in the leadership frame with 6 new products designed in India, styled in India, made for the masses.
So that was Greaves Cotton. I also visited the booth of Ashok Leyland. They had at least 7 vehicles showcased here at the Auto Expo. They had LNG vehicles, a hydrogen fuel cell truck, a CNG truck, and they also had an electric vehicle truck as well. The company's management, the new MD Shenu Agarwal and the company's Chief Technology Officer N. Sarvanan told me that the Boss EV will be launched in the next couple of months, and they hope for continued strong growth in the commercial vehicle segment. Listen in.
The roadmap is very, very clear because the future is going to be different, and therefore we want to be prepared for the future. And that is our play at the Auto Expo as well. We have nothing from diesel or old fuel here. Everything is future, right? Starting from CNG, LNG, and electric, and hydrogen, etc. Right? So
out of these technologies that you're showcasing, which one would you like to bring to market probably in the next 1 year or as early as possible?
yeah, so I would ask Doc to.
The question depends on the ecosystem availability. We believe CNG ecosystem is building up quite fast. So is LNG. So we expect the CNG and LNG to come at a quicker pace, followed by EVs, of course, especially in segments where there's intracity applications where it's possible to put charges much quickly. Followed that with maybe the hydrogen-based vehicles, both the fuels and the hydrogenized. So for us, CNG, LNG, and battery electric vehicle in some segments, followed by the hydrogen-based vehicles, is what we see.
Mr. Agarwal, could you give us a sense, as we move ahead and show our viewers what else is happening here at the Ashok Leyland booth, could you give us a sense of the kind of investments you're making in these different technologies? And if we were to ask you to divide it in terms of a percentage, could you explain us what will be the allocation?
Yeah, so without going with a specific number, I would say that about 70% of our capital expenditure on R&D is happening on the alternative technologies.
70% is going towards R&D technologies.
Yeah.
As we see these technologies, which are some of the products you're likely to launch in FY24?
For example, you see the Boss EV. This is a segment where you're starting to see electrification happen quite quickly, particularly short point-to-point hauls. You can actually see EVs coming to picture. So this would be probably one of the first vehicles from a non-CNG LNG possibility coming to picture. The Boss EV, which is from 10-ton to 18-ton platform, could be one of the first products to come into the market.
Right. If I were to ask you about some of the policy clarity that you need from the government at this stage to have a clear roadmap, what would that be?
I think the government has been quite active in the last couple of years. We do have reasonable amount of clarity, other than small noise once in a while, but there's reasonable clarity in terms of what the government wants to push in terms of electrification, also in terms of recent hydrogen policy. There is clarity. Now the question of investments from not just from OEM perspective, investments from the ecosystem perspective. For example, if we take electrification, there's a need for high power charging infrastructure, not just charging for the car. So that's the challenge. How does one go about it? I think we'll see. The ecosystem will evolve around.
My final question as we end, how do you expect to close FY20, FY23 and maybe some of the challenges to growth that you see in the next fiscal?
Yeah, so FY23 has been really, really very good for us so far, and I hope the last quarter would be more, would actually be better. We have a good tailwind because the industry is moving very, very well. Industry is about to reach maybe its peak this year or next year. And on top of that, we have been able to recover a lot of our market share that we had lost. So we are, from the point of market share also, we will be pretty much at our highest ever by end of this year. That is what we are hoping.
On that note, we take a short break, but don't go anywhere. Our coverage from the Auto Expo 2023 continue, and we'll get you special reports from Kia and a whole lot of auto makers here at the Auto Expo. Don't go anywhere. Yes, here at the Auto Expo, MG Motor showcased 14 production-ready vehicles, primarily in the electric vehicle and the hybrid space. You had the Hector facelift, which has been launched with significant upgrades at a starting price of around 14.8 lakhs. You also had an electric hatch, which was showcased, the MG4, and the EHS, electric hybrid SUV that was showcased by MG Motor. There is also going to be one surprise that they have up their sleeve, which could be the MG Air EV, an intra-city electric vehicle that could be launched in the next few months. I caught up with Rajiv Chaba, the Managing Director and CEO of MG Motor India. Listen in to what he had to say.
The purpose of this whole demonstration is to showcase the technology that we have new energy vehicles ready, both in EV as well as in hybrids, especially within hybrids, PHEV. And PHEV we don't have in India yet. So plug-in hybrids and EVs are ready. So depending on the consumer interest, depending on the government direction, we can launch these cars. Also, out of EVs, what we are showing in MG4 is one of them. We will be taking the feedback, and one of these 4 EVs, what we are showcasing, hopefully we should bring it next year. So, mind it, we are going to launch one EV which we have not showcased here. That EV we are going to launch in the next few months. So that's our second EV in our portfolio. And another EV out of these 4 cars, including this car, we will launch next year.
There's been a lot of speculation about the Air EV. And that could be a launch in the 10 to 15 lakh bracket. Could you tell us a bit about it? What will be the strategy behind that?
So I would not say any comment to your naming, Air. I don't know, I can't reveal the name of that car right now, but yes, you're right. It's an EV, it's between 10 to 15 lakhs of rupees. It will be a smart urban mobility solution. It will be a very unique mobility solution which our country hasn't seen as such.
How do you expect to complete the fiscal year FY23, and what kind of volumes are you expecting in the coming
So this year, last year, 22 calendar year, we ended up selling 50,000 cars, which I think was okay performance, but nothing great. I think some of the competitors did a much better job because the industry grew by almost 22-25% and we grew only by 20%. And the reason was that we had some issues on chips shortages. This year's supplies have already started improving, and we have launched Hector MCE and facelift, and also the new EV we are going to launch. So against the industry growth of 8 or 9% this year, I think our growth should be 80 or 90%.
Hyundai and Kia Motors also came out strong at the Auto Expo. Remember, these are two companies that together want to challenge Maruti Suzuki's leadership position. Hyundai formally launched the Ioniq 5 and Kia had the new Carnival, which was launched at the Auto Expo. Danish Anand visited the Kia India stall here at the Auto Expo, caught up with the management, the company's head of sales, Hardeep Brar. Listen in to what he had to say.
One of the latest entrants in India's crowded car market, Kia Motors today showcased two of its vehicles. The first one is the Kia Concept EV9, and as you can see, this car is completely different as far as looks are concerned. This will be a full electric car whenever it's launched, and as far as the design is concerned, it has some good design cues all around. You talk about the tail lamps, you talk about the indicators, everything comes with a very unique design. Well, one of the most interesting feature about the Kia Concept EV9 is that this car is built on Kia's eGMP, which is the Electric Global Modular Platform. And this is Kia's EV's dedicated platform, which comprises of the chassis of the vehicle, the battery, motor, power electric system, and this allows the company to manufacture a different kind of vehicles due to a scalable wheelbase. The second car the company has showcased is the KA4. Well, the KA4 is a luxury MPV, and it is expected that whenever this car is launched in India, it will replace the existing Kia Carnival. Let's talk about the design first. If you look at the front design, this car will come with a completely different front fascia. There are interesting design cues over here, as you can see, and we can see that a lot of chrome has been used to give a very luxurious look and feel. On the sides, you will see that the car comes with a good design. These are the first two cars that the company has showcased today. Besides this, the company also showcased two more vehicles which can be used as a police PCR, or it can be used as an ambulance. But one more thing that the company today announced was a 2,000 crore investment. So all in all, if we see, Kia has given us a small highlight of how the future cars will look like.
Concept is basically to take feedback from the consumers, how they really like the product, what kind of features they would like to have in this product. So, Auto Expo gives us a platform where we can really, talk to our consumers and understand more of their needs and what they feel about the products. So we are still under exploratory stage at this point in time. I think exact timelines we will, once we do a little more study and what is the outcome of Auto Expo, I think then we'll be able to clearly tell. But definitely not this year, maybe we'll explore it in the subsequent years.
Right. So what will be the biggest USP of the concept car, and what will make it literally stand out from the other cars in the crowd?
So I think if you look at the stance of the car, it looks very, very bold. It looks like a tank. And when you look inside, the entire thing is very, very sophisticated, luxurious, very well connected and digitized. And the number of autonomous features we are thinking of getting into this car, I think that will be our next level. So all this put together, I think this is going to be a great package we have not yet launched it globally. I think global launch we are looking at sometime this year. And then we will talk about the India market, because we are already launched 5 products in 3 years, which is probably one of the best in the industry. So we want the existing cars to perform well, and then we'll think about the other cars.
So very lastly, we are seeing that as far as the charging infrastructure is concerned for EVs, that is being developed by not only by the central government, also by the state governments, and we are seeing a lot of play being done by the companies. Yeah. So since all of this is now sorted, what is your game plan for EVs in India?
See, I think the biggest thing which can really take care of the range anxieties, as we call it from the consumer standpoint, is the kind of range which an EV gives you. So for example, EV6 that we have launched, as per the ARI numbers, it gives a mileage of more than 700 kilometers on a single charge. So imagine when the range is so huge, you're not going to travel more than 600-700 kilometers in a day. So I think that takes care of a lot of anxiety, and as you rightly mentioned, there's a lot of impetus from the state, central government in terms of increasing the charging infrastructure. So I think both put together, I think we are more than sorted for the time being.
All right, that's all we have time for on this edition of our special from Auto Expo. We'll get you another broadcast tomorrow with launches from Tata Motors. Remember, the Jimny from Maruti Suzuki, the Fronx are also going to be launched tomorrow. Important launches to watch out for. Thank you for watching. Good boy.
Hello and welcome to the special broadcast on day 2 of the Auto Expo. I'm Parikshit Luthra. The biggest crowds today are at the Maruti Pavilion here at the Auto Expo, and that's because the company has launched the 5-door off-roader, the Jimny, and the compact SUV, the Fronx. These two SUVs will be in the price range of approximately 8 to 10 lakhs as a starting price. The official price has not yet been announced, but why are these two SUVs so important for Maruti Suzuki? Let's find out. Behind me is the Jimny, the 5-door Jimny, which is a lifestyle off-roader with 4x4 capability, with the front seats which can recline completely, intuitive knobs with muscle memory, washer headlamps, and this is based on a ladder frame chassis. The company is hoping that this can compete strongly with the Thar, and Maruti can capture a good share in the lifestyle off-roader segment with this Jimny. This is already available in several countries worldwide. It will be locally manufactured in India and also exported. In fact, it continues to be exported from India. And on this side, you have the Fronx, which has been launched. This is a compact SUV which has been launched by Maruti Suzuki, and this will take on the likes of the Kia Sonet and the Hyundai Venue as well. So Maruti is hoping that with these two vehicles, they can capture a good share of the SUV market.
The SUV space in India is growing very, very fast. And we understand that we need more and more appealing products for the young and vibrant Indian consumers. And today, we launched the 2 new SUVs, which is important for Maruti Suzuki in India. That is Fronx and this Jimny in 5-door Avatar. And those 2 new models, I am sure that will have a very strong appeal to Indian young consumers.
So give me a sense of how many products or how many units of the Jimny have already been sold worldwide?
Worldwide, I think more than 3 million cars sold in the history of Jimny. So Jimny is like a legendary product in the real 4-wheel drive, segment. This is like only one product which you can go everywhere at any time.
Right. I would also like to ask you about your current market share in SUVs in India, and how much do you hope to increase it to by the end of 2023?
Because our portfolio was not so strong, so we are struggling in SUV space with very low market share, less than the 15%. But now we are gradually, moving upward because of the full, model change of Brezza last year, and also addition of totally new Grand Vitara last year. So we are climbing up over 15% market share in SUV space month by month.
Mr. Toshiro Suzuki, the president of Suzuki Motor Company, said India could soon become the leading manufacturer of passenger cars. What do you think will India need to do in terms of policy to give a conducive environment to the industry to reach that level?
I think in India, we have basically everything already we have in our hand. The whole market is growing, and one of the best market in the world that we can foresee, we can expect the big growth. And also India can become a hub for manufacturing for the export also. And nowadays, the technology make it possible for us to do the good quality products anywhere in the world. So India is not the exception. So in India, we can make very high quality products and for Indian home market as well as for the export.
Do you feel that the growth this year in the coming fiscal will be challenging, sir?
Now for us, the demand is still very strong. we have very big back orders right now, and at the same time, our incoming orders are almost par to our production capacity. So for us, the still demand is very, very strong.
Also grabbing a lot of eyeballs at the Auto Expo is Tata Motors. They showcased not just the Avinya, which will launch in 2025, but also the Harrier EV and the Sierra EV for the first time. All these electric vehicles and a set of passenger cars will launch in the next 2 to 3 years. We caught up with Shailesh Chandra, the Managing Director of the Passenger Vehicle and Electric Vehicle Mobility Unit in Tata Motors, and the Executive Director of the Commercial Vehicle Unit, Girish Wagh. Listen in. Mr. Chandrasekharan, very strong show by Tata Motors here at the Auto Expo. 26 products unveiled across segments. Give us a sense, what does this show about Tata Motors' growth roadmap? Today you're a strong number 3, growing in a robust manner. How do you see growth from here?
I think both in commercial vehicles and passenger cars, we are driving towards new mobility, and we are investing in a number of technologies. You've seen us launch a number of electric vehicle passenger cars, and also you're seeing the same thing in commercial vehicles. You got to see what we are doing in the fuel cells and hydrogen powered internal combustion engine vehicles. We are looking at urban mobility as well as long distance trucking as far as the commercial vehicle is concerned. As far as the passenger car is concerned, I think we are investing both in ICE technology as well as in electric vehicles. See, we had a lot of product gaps which we have been trying to address. So it's a question of focusing on safety. It's a question of taking a bet on electric mobility. That's a bet we took in 2018, late 18 and 19. And since then, we have only doubled and tripled our efforts. So we are committed. We are also wanting to create cars which are very desirable for the consumer. We have to work on both affordability and on driving pleasure. And on technology. On technology is something that we'll continue to invest.
So electric vehicles, how you have come up with a 10 lakh electric vehicle car. How will you continue focusing on bringing down costs and any challenges to electric mobility that you see in the country, which probably need to be done away with?
I think we need to do all ranges. It's not only about a price range at 10 lakhs. We also have to have higher end models because customers have different choices. There are different segments of customers. So we need to continue to work on batteries. I need to work on new technologies. Currently we are with lithium ion, and we need to look at other technologies as well. So we are working with, let me put it this way, startups and other innovators. And I think this space will evolve. It's too difficult to say exactly at what time frame and when we will be launching different technologies, but we'll continue to evolve.
Does Tata Motors have a clear path to the number 1 position in the market?
And we don't talk about position and market share. Our job now, we have a long way to go. Our job is now to continue to produce vehicles which are appreciated by customers and adopted by customers.
Any
so
view?
We've got a long way to go.
All right. So just one final comment on Air India. An unfortunate incident, you've already taken action. Anything that you'd like to tell us?
No, I've already said that as a company and as a group, we fell short in responding to that situation. So we are committed to making steps, whether it is in terms of processes, in terms of other systems, and that we need to correct so that we can handle these situations much better. And more importantly, we can ensure that the customers feel delighted to be with our airlines.
Give us a sense of the growth that you have seen in this fiscal so far, and how do you expect to close FY23?
So this fiscal has been very strong, and I would say that it's been very interesting fiscal, and even calendar year also. If you see the last calendar year, the first half of first quarter of this financial year was supply constrained, and then you started seeing the easing of supplies. Industry started supplying 1 million vehicles to the market, and therefore a lot of pent-up demand which was there has got released. This financial year, just like the calendar year 22, is going to hit about 3.8 million units as compared to last financial year, which was at 3.1. It's a massive growth, 25% coming because of the secular growth that in any case PV industry was seeing, but also because of say 3 lakh to 4 lakh of pent up which was in the system, which has got released. So far what we see, the trend in the market, that bookings are sustaining at certain levels. Of course it is more for certain popular cars, and for rest of the cars, the regular cars, the supply is more than demand. So given the significant growth that we are going to see this year, in this financial year, the base is going to be big, and therefore next year I would expect that it will be just a single digit growth as compared to say 25% growth that we are going to see this financial year.
So you're saying that the growth is going to taper down for the industry in FY24?
In terms of growth rate, of course the size will attain, if it is 3.8, it will be 4.1 million is what I expect.
But the pace will slow down because this pent-up demand will also come down slowly.
Exactly. The pent-up demand has got released. Now it will be absolutely on the fundamentals of the factors which are driving the consumption and sales of our cars.
These are 5 or 6 trucks that are parked here. Give us a sense of each of them and what they offer.
So what we have here is the Prima 55-ton tractor with hydrogen fueled internal combustion engine. So as I said, hydrogen is a good possibility, a very exciting possibility in commercial vehicles. And for long haul, heavy duty, where battery electric may not do the work, I think hydrogen is an option. Within that, I think, so we have developed this concept wherein you can also use the current intellectual property and infrastructure of internal combustion engines to a great extent.
So hydrogen on ice.
Hydrogen on ice. So, I think globally there is also talk of just transition. So hydrogen ice, in a manner of speaking, actually helps towards that.
Right, and this is the Prima E55S.
So this is the Prima with fuel cell. So we have both the options, the fuel cell as well as the hydrogen internal combustion engine here. And then on this side we have the battery electric.
Okay.
So even
this is pure EV.
This is pure battery electric. So even in heavy duty vehicles, for closed loop applications, say like tipping or construction, for mining and construction, this will be a battery electric tipper. Even in buses, we have 2 buses. One is a battery electric bus on the left hand side, and on the right hand side is a fuel cell electric bus.
Cummins is all set to manufacture fuel-agnostic engines for Tata Motors here in India. My colleague Danish Anand caught up with Ashwath Ram, Cummins India's managing director, for a perspective on how the company is increasing its footprint in India.
We are displaying here after nearly 4 years, and we have many incredible products that we are showcasing over here. The most important thing that we are trying to demonstrate here is our journey towards a zero carbon environment. India has committed to be a zero carbon nation by 2070. Cummins has committed to be a zero carbon company by 2050. And with that in mind, all the technologies are being progressed to be able to reach that goal. At the Auto Expo, we are showcasing hydrogen internal combustion engines, we are showcasing electrolyzers, we are showcasing our fuel agnostic platform, we are showcasing hydrogen fuel cells and battery electric packs and systems that we have developed.
So how is the current demand like, and are you adding, are there more companies that are approaching you to take all these future-ready technologies from you?
Yeah, so the Indian commercial vehicle market has been in a bit of a recession. which started in 2019, and then 2020 and 2021 were impacted by COVID. So 22 was the first year we started to slowly recover out of the recession, and we expect 23 and a few years going forward to be pretty strong for this market. We also think India is at an inflection point, like what we saw in China between 1995 and 2010, where they had 10 or 15 years of clear, solid growth. We expect that if we continue to build infrastructure the way we are planning to in India, we should see similar kind of growth in India as well.
Indian electric passenger car startup is all set to commercially roll out its first electric SUV later this year. At the Auto Expo, they have showcased this electric vehicle which they have developed for the armed forces. We're going to leave you with these pictures as we take a break, but don't go anywhere. Lots more coming up from our special coverage of the Auto Expo. Welcome back. You're watching our special broadcast from Auto Expo in Greater Noida. Luxury car maker Lexus has unveiled its range of electric and hybrid vehicles here at the Auto Expo, including the futuristic LF30, a vehicle that can go from 0 to 100 in just 3.8 seconds and has a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. My colleague Danish Anand caught up with the company's president, Naveen Soni, on Lexus India plans, product lineup, and the importance of India as a market for Lexus in Asia Pacific.
As far as future products is concerned, since we have already defined a global direction that we will be moving towards all-electric, battery-electric future by 2035. So towards that, we are presenting two concept cars which are on display, the LFZ and the LC30, which is available for consumers' understanding. In addition to that, we also have the LX 500D, which we had brought in a few sample units, not sample units, a trial, a few cars that were given to us from Japan, and those vehicles are also on display.
So post-COVID, we saw that a lot of demand for luxury cars suddenly shot up. So how has it been for you? And going down further, when do you feel like till what point of time this demand will sustain?
I think what you said is right. The ingredients of the demand we have to understand. The mindset that has been changed as far as the consumer is concerned is that now that the consumers are willing to experiment, the consumers are willing to express, and they know that you have only one life to live. So therefore they have been expressing themselves, and that mindset change is allowing these consumers to get into more and more newer technologies, newer products, and even the luxury car market. That's the long and short of it. And I think if this trend continues, this thinking way continues, I think the trend is here to stay.
So in this financial year, are you planning to make any more investment, or are you planning to add more capacity to the production?
We are planning to add more capacity to the consumer touch points. So we have grown from 4 touch points in 4 cities, which was at the beginning of 2022 last year. By the end of 2022, we are at 17 outlets in 13 cities. So that was a major change point. And in addition to that, we want to continue this journey because I think consumer demand is coming from B and C townships. The growth rate is much faster there, so therefore we need to be there.
After the E6 and the Atto 3, Chinese automotive giant BYD is all set to launch the all-electric premium sedan in India, the BYD Seal. This has a battery pack of 82 kilowatt-hour and can give a range of over 700 kilometers. We caught up with the company's management and asked them about plans to increase the sales footprint in India and also how the India-China tensions are impacting their operations.
So I think after demonstrating 2 technologies in India, the blade battery and the E-platform, this car, the new car, the premium sedan, we are going to demonstrate another new technology which is called the cell-to-body technology. So this comes equipped with the blade battery, the E-platform, and then it comes equipped with the cell-to-body technology.
Right.
So the speciality is that we have sandwiched the battery into the chassis. Yeah, there the battery was integrated into the platform. Here we have actually sandwiched into the chassis, giving the car more safe, more torsional rigidity, and as safe as you can in this sedan. In our home country, within a span of 45 minutes after booking, we got almost close to 50,000 orders.
So 50,000 orders for this car so far?
Yeah, globally.
We see a lot of Chinese investors, Chinese companies having issues in India because of the tensions between India and China. How do you see that play out, and what has been your message to policymakers?
See, I think as a company, we are projecting ourselves, which I've been telling, as a global company, as a technology company. So, keeping aside the political situations, we work on the business side. So I think that is what we are looking at. We want to satisfy the customer. Customers don't face any problems in spare parts and servicing. That's why we are pruning up our dealers, training our dealers. So I think as a company, we want to be in India. We want to be a part of the electric revolution which is happening in India, and we want to contribute to the greener environment for the country.
Auto Expo 2023 also saw launches and unveils by several electric vehicle startups like Matter, which recently launched its range of electric motorcycles in India. My colleague Danish Anand visited the stalls of Ultraviolet and also a new EV startup called Liger. Take a look at his reports.
Well, after launching its first product, the F77 Ultraviolet at the Auto Expo 2023 has given us a peek into its future. Well, yes, the company has officially announced that it will foray into the electric motorsports. And as you can see behind us, this is called the Ultraviolet F99, which is company's factory racing platform. And the most striking feature about this bike is the power.
As of today, what we've designed the technology for is to be sustainable over the next 20-30 years.
We are seeing that in the last year, there was a lot of demand which was generated for electric two-wheelers. But as far as bikes are concerned and your particular segment is concerned, don't you think that it will cater to certain kind of audience? And in order to capture a bigger and a wider market, do you also plan to launch some low-based products which are not racing specific, which are not sport specific, but for the common man? Are you planning to have something like that?
See, if you talk about common man, then I think the other aspect we should look at is owning an electric vehicle over 5 years. So while one might say that we are starting out at a price point of 3.8 lakhs, right? But compared to an IC engine vehicle, any 200cc vehicle and above, your monthly operating costs are between 4,000 to 5,000 per month on petrol. Your annual service costs are anywhere from 10 to 15,000. Over 5 years, this maintenance cost of an IC engine vehicle is 3 to 3.5 lakhs. Now compared to what we've created, that 5-year annual ownership cost is less than 50,000 rupees, right? So now if you look at that whole thing, we've already disrupted that space of what the price point represents over my usage or ownership of an electric vehicle.
Well, everyone loves riding a scooter, but there's certain people that do not drive the scooter themselves because they fear that they might just fall off. But look no more, because one of India's Mumbai-based startup, Liger Mobility, has launched what the company is claiming the world's first auto-balancing scooter. And as you can see, this particular person is static right now. The scooter is static right now. But the scooter is not getting disbalanced and neither the rider is falling off. Why? Because this scooter is powered by an AI which takes care of the external as well as of the internal environment. And as soon as the scooter is static or it is in the speed limit of 5 to 7 kilometers, the AI kicks in and it balances off the scooter and no one just falls off. And let me remind you, it is only at the speed of 5 to 7 kilometers per hour, the auto balancing mode of the scooter will kick in, but not if you are at a higher speed than that. Well, this is one of the innovations that this company has showcased at the Auto Expo 2023. Now, the big question is how the scooter lovers would love to buy the scooter or not. With you journalist Sudhir Patra, this is Danish Anand with CNBC-TV18.
That's all we have time for on this special broadcast from day 2 of the Auto Expo. From Danish and me, thank you for watching and goodbye.